You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 225 for Sunday, the 2nd of September 2018. As usual, if you'd like to contact the Disney Dream Girls, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at DisDreamGirls. Our Facebook page can be found just by searching Disney Dream Girls. We can be emailed info@disneydreamgirls.com. Our website, disneydreamgirls.com, has show notes and lots more. And finally, if you wish to contribute financially to help the show grow bigger and better, you can find us on patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls. And I have with me a brand new guest to delight and entertain you all. Now, I've been following along with her trips to Walt Disney World, for the past fair few months now. And I reached out to her on Twitter and said, would you love to share some of your experiences with us Dream Girls? And she very kindly accepted. So you may know her as Gal Disney 40, but we are actually going to introduce her as Liz. How are you doing on this glorious day?
I'm doing fantastic, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me and in inviting me onto the show. I look forward to sharing my Disney experiences with your fan group.
I am so excited because the thing that makes doing a podcast so amazing is that you get to meet new people and find out new information, and then over time what started as just mere listeners turn into friends. And I must admit, my closest 5 friends at this present moment I've met through doing the podcast.
That's fantastic. I love the Disney community. It's just such a fantastic, great group of people.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, your Disney experience, and which theme parks do you like to visit?
Okay, so I first visited Disney, Walt Disney World, I should clarify, in 1999. And then since then, I got the Disney bug and, visit as often as I can. I became a DVC member about 2 years ago when the Polynesian joined the Vacation Club group. And since then, it has afforded me to be able to go at least once a year, if not twice a year, between, having the free room and then discounts for annual pass and all of that. And at this point, we absolutely love our favorite parks. When I say we, it's my husband and I, Epcot and Magic Kingdom. Those are our 2 favorite parks by all means.
So what makes Epcot and Magic Kingdom your favourites? Do you have a particular attraction or experience that you always have to go and hunt down in those parks?
Great question. So Magic Kingdom, I think, just really holds the essence of Walt Disney World and just has a special magic to it that I absolutely love. And it has all of those classic rides that you think of when you think of Disney. Epcot, as an adult that goes, child free to the parks, Epcot is just a fantastic adult adventure of food and drink, and we just kind of roll our way around the world. So that's what really drives us in Epcot is the food.
Okay, this is something that always puzzles me with regards to couples that go to Disney. Did your husband have the Disney bug prior to your marriage, or is it forced upon him?
It has been forced upon him. He does definitely enjoy it, and he's kind of slowly getting the bug, but it was definitely something that I forced upon him.
Oh, bless. But what a place to go and be forced to enjoy yourself. An adult playground of Epcot where there's food and drink and a fantastic finale at the end of the evening.
I agree. It could be a lot worse, right?
Absolutely. Mm. Do you have any travel plans to go to other Disney parks throughout the world?
It's definitely on our wish list. We do have a cruise planned for later this year to celebrate our 2-year wedding anniversary. So that's really exciting to be able to experience the Disney Cruise Line. And then hopefully I'm hoping to get to California soon. I'll say probably in the next couple of years. I want to let them settle down a little bit with the construction, so that we can experience that to its full capacity.
I think that's incredibly wise with Galaxy's Edge coming on board, and you want to get the best of it, but you don't want to be there when the crowds are going to be at the scariest as it opens.
Yeah. We definitely want to avoid the peak crowds as much as we can. Hence why it'll be a while before I see Toy Story Land and Star Wars Land as well, unless there's a special ticket event.
So tell me a little about this cruise, and congratulations on your upcoming anniversary. Which ship, what itinerary, and when?
Okay, so it is going to be during Christmas time, so December. So I'm really excited about that because I'm sure it's going to be fully decked out in all the Christmas decor. It is the Fantasy that we're going to be cruising on, and we're doing the Western Caribbean, so going to Tortola, St. Thomas, I believe, and then Castaway Cay.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And Christmas, the ship will just glimmer with glitter and tinsel and Christmas trees. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, really excited about that. That should be a really good time. And then once we're done with the cruise, we're going to do 2 days at Disney to take in all of the Christmas magic there and then head home.
Sounds absolutely a delightful way to end the year. If you have any questions, I might be able to answer them once I've been on the ship.
I look forward to hearing about your experience. I've been following along leading up to it and fully plan on trying to get as much as I can from details and tips and tricks from your future episodes when you share that.
I'm so beyond excited about this because I have never done a Disney cruise. So anyway. Shut up about me. And we are going to be talking a little bit about a recent experience that you did in Animal Kingdom. And to be honest, it's one I didn't even know existed. Maybe when I'm searching for tours, it was a little out of my price points, and maybe that's why I didn't sort of look at it. But when I read your blog about this, and we'll link in details about how you can find that later on in the show, I was thinking, well, actually, looking at this, you are getting quite a bit for your money. So I thought, well, I'll invite you along, have a little chat with you to see if you can persuade me to squeeze it in my trip. So why did you book it firstly?
So what really drove me to book it is insulation from the crowds for Pandora. I have been hearing all of the buzz about Pandora, and along with that, all of the kind of stories about the long lines and trying to get fast passes and all of that. So I was kind of trying to look for a way to help insulate against the crowds and be able to experience as much as we could in Animal Kingdom. In addition to, I was also looking to do something new for our spring trip and maybe do a tour of some kind. So when I came across this, it was a little bit of, the best of both worlds. And as a DVC member, they were offering a discount, and that's really what kind of sealed the deal for me, because coming from New England, I am thrifty as all get out. So you give me a discount and I'm going to be tempted to take it.
You're talking to a Yorkshire lady here. And in the UK, there's, the hierarchy of people who are economical with their cash. You have the Scottish, which are renowned for being very, very canny with their cash. And then you have Yorkshire people who literally would cut a currant in half to save the currants, if you know what I mean. So you're talking to someone who likes to be thrifty. So,
okay.
So the information I've got on this, and I'll just say the technical stuff, is that it's called the Ultimate Nights of Adventure VIP Tour. It's for guests 44 inches or 112 centimetres or taller, and the price prior to discount, $249 as well. And is the tax added to that?
Tax is added to that, and you have to have valid park admission.
So, okay, it's not offered every day of the week, and if you want to book it, you have to call 407 939 7529. So that's my bit done. I'm now going to hand the mic over to yourself to tell me all about it.
All right. So it is a 4-hour tour that you are, within your tour group. Our tour group had about 12 people, and then we had about 4 cast members that were leading us around, and they were busy the entire time. They had their hands full.
That's a really good ratio, 12 guests to 4 cast members. I've been on tours where there's literally been 1 cast member and a group of 18 people. This is on the Keys to the Kingdom tour, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought that it was a really nice ratio. I was actually surprised by it when we first got to the tour and I saw how many people it was. But once I actually saw the mechanics of the tour, totally got it, because you can actually end up getting split. Your group can get split up. So they really need those cast members to be able to kind of connect everybody back together at key points.
Okay.
So you start out at Dinosaur. That's actually where you meet your tour group. They give you a lot of very clear instructions before the tour as to, getting there to sign in and check in, 15 minutes before the tour starts. When you go and check in, they give you a lanyard showing that you're on the VIP tour, and you pick your snack, quote unquote, from Santulli Canteen. So I picked the blueberry cheesecake that everybody raves about. And to our surprise, we also at that time picked our alcoholic beverage that we thought was going to go with the snack. So if you're over 21 years old, you get an alcoholic drink of choice. Or if you're under 21 or you don't drink, you pick your non-alcoholic beverage.
So was that like beer, wine, or were there any sort of like cocktails or anything like that included?
Beer and wine.
Okay.
That's a great question. So we picked that, and then we went right into Dinosaur once they did the intros of themselves and they had us go around and introduce ourselves. So we went into Dinosaur. Now, the whole tour, all of the rides that are included, it's not backstage access. It's Fast Pass Plus access, which is fantastic if you think about it, because you're getting far more Fast Pass access than you would if you were not on the tour. But you have to keep in mind that it is Fast Pass Plus access, so sometimes you might have to wait a little bit before you get on the ride. The other thing that I thought was interesting is while you go through the Fast Pass access, we never at any point cut ahead of anybody. And this is where your group can sometimes get split up. So for Dinosaur, for example, if there aren't enough spots in one car for your whole group, your group gets split up among a number of cars. The exception to that is if, like, my husband and I, we always stayed together. So the cast members that are operating the ride will ask you, just like as if you were in line in anything else, how many are in your party. And you'll say, there's 2, and they'll make sure that you get sat with the people that you're with. So
while you're in these queues, normally when you go on a Disney tour, they give you the earphones so that you can hear what's being instructed. But you've not mentioned that. So are the guides actually talking with you as you're queuing, or is it just informal chat? Are they sort of giving you insider knowledge of Dinosaur or anything?
Yeah, so great question. And I was curious about that myself. No earbuds or anything are included. But because there's 4 tour guides, they do informally chat with the people around them as you're queuing up to the ride. So they might be just sharing information on how things are going to work and what they need you to help them with. Or they'll be giving you tips and information about the ride or the park. So for example, as we were walking through Dinosaur, the tour guide I was near was asking questions and giving trivia about the tubes, the colored tubes that go throughout Dinosaur. The experience will vary a little bit, I think, depending on the tour guides that you have, because it's a little bit less formal.
Okay. If I'm just putting a question out there, if there was someone in your party, say for example, that wouldn't want to do this particular attraction, I imagine they'll just meet up with you at the end.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
That's how they would handle that. Yep.
Perfect.
So we went through Dinosaur, and our group actually ended up getting split up. So you're on a very tight timeline, especially because they're not exactly sure how long the fast pass lines may have waits. So when we got off, half of our group made it on two cars that were right behind each other. And two of our tour guides said, okay, we're just going to move on and head over to Pandora. And they were just constantly texting on the phone with the other tour guides and the other half of the group that ended up a few minutes behind us.
Okay. So where did you head tonight?
We headed over to Pandora at a very fast clip. We trekked all the way across Animal Kingdom over to Pandora. And we stopped at the big, huge blue misting spitting plant at the entrance to Pandora. And they actually gave a little bit of trivia about that, which I found really helpful because I would have never known the backstory otherwise. So that big misting, spitting blue plant as you enter Pandora, the purpose of that is the story behind it is that when it spits and is misting, it's actually oxygenating the air. In Pandora, making it inhabitable for us humans without having to wear oxygen masks.
That's do you know, I never knew that. That's a really useful piece of information.
Isn't it? I thought it was so cool. I'm like, I would have never guessed. I thought that it was just like a misting station. And this now gives meaning to this big, huge blue, plant.
Because having not seen the whole film, Avatar, I must be one of the only people on the planet. I fell asleep after 20 minutes. That little bit of information, I didn't realise humans needed breathing apparatus to be on the planet, and there's nothing around that plant that tells you the story. So, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And I mean, honestly, I've seen the movie. I never picked up on that either. So Disney Imagineers at their best.
And an exclusive thing shared through this tour, and now you and I chatting.
Yeah, right? So once we, went through that, we made our way over to Navi River Ride and went through that fast pass where we hit a little bit of traffic, I'll say. But it was kind of nice because we were within the ride itself. So we were in a shaded area and it gave you a chance to kind of look around and take in a bit of the queue. Which was nice. We went on Navi River Ride, and I personally thought that ride was fantastic. It is so rich with things to look at. It's almost overwhelming. I think my perspective of the ride was helped by the fact that I didn't wait an hour and a half. To get on the ride. I think if I had to wait more than the, 10 minutes that it took us to get on the ride, I probably wouldn't be as fond of it and think that it was really short. But for the amount of time that we waited, I thought that it was fantastic.
Yeah, I know for me when I've been on it the once, and my whole experience was spoiled by firstly the wait, and then secondly I had the row in front of me, the woman narrating it to her son, and then the row behind me, someone had a video camera on with the light.
Oh, that is the worst.
I really didn't get the proper experience, so I'm going to give it another go before. I have slated it a little bit, I must admit, but I'm open, loving it again.
Yeah, I hope that you have a better experience this time. It's tough when, you don't have the best group of fellow people, Disney fans around you.
True.
So after we got off of that, we made our way over to Flight of Passage. Again, going through the fast pass queue. This was really fun to walk through. The particular tour member that we were closest to, she was a huge fan, or is a huge fan, I should say, of Flight of Passage. She was actually kind of bragging about the number of times she's been on the ride, which I want to say was close to 30 times. So she was an expert in my mind, and she really added to the excitement of it. Again, we went through the fast pass line. That ride probably was the longest wait that we had, which was probably about 15 minutes in total. And this really accentuated the need for the 4 cast members. So at that point, our group had reconvened together. But if you're familiar with the way Flight of Passage is, there's many flight stations in addition to multiple floors within those flight stations. And again, while they keep your immediate party together, the tour group got split up. So we were in both flight pods, I'll say, and on both floors. So they really needed all the cast members, the tour guides, there to help keep everybody together and reconvene at the end. So we experienced that, and that ride is just absolutely breathtaking. One thing I'll add to that for those that experience it, I really encourage you to ride it a couple of times. And I say that because we went to the park a little bit early before the tour and went specifically just to Pandora just to see Pandora, not to necessarily go on the rides and just kind of take in all of the scenery. And we did happen to get a fast pass for Flight of Passage. And the first ride was, I thought, amazing. What I realized after I rode it the second time was that for whatever reason, the first time, I forget what you call it, what you're riding.
Oh, the Navi?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Wasn't breathing as much as it did the second time. So that was a lot different of an experience for me to feel like the full breathing experience of the animal that you're on. And then the other thing was the first ride didn't have nearly as much scent as I experienced on the second ride. You know, the point of that again is just ride it a couple of different times because you may have a little bit of a different experience.
No, those are very good points because I've come across those issues on other attractions such as soaring. So yeah, highly recommend a couple of rides on that. Okay. So after you'd done your Flight of Passage, where did they head you off to next?
They headed us into Santulli Canteen. Yeah, I was super excited about that because I had been hearing such wonderful things about it. And they, worked their Disney magic and really surprised us. So what we thought we were going to be getting was just our adult beverage that we had selected and our dessert. And what we were surprised with is that they had each table. So they split our tour group up to about, 6 people. So we had 2 tables and they surprised us with the Santulli sampler platter to try. And if you're not familiar with it, the sampler platter includes all of the protein options. So your fish, tofu, chicken, and steak. And it also includes all the different sauces that you have available if you're picking out one of the bowls individually, along with, your carbohydrate or, so your rice or your slaws, and then they had salad. So we were really surprised by that. And I was super excited because I had heard wonderful things about these bowls.
Yeah.
And you were able to try a little bit of all of it, which was just a great experience.
And you got the whole cheesecake. Did it live up to its expectations?
It did. It was fantastic. Very sweet, very rich, I thought, but really good.
I must admit, between that and the chocolate one, I am torn because I love them both.
Yeah, my husband got the chocolate one and I had a little bit of a taste of it. It was really good, but I was glad that I got the blueberry cheesecake because I don't know that I would have been able to do the whole chocolate dessert by myself.
Yeah, but it was nice that you got a taste and to get that sort of like sampler platter as well. And I believe they also gave you a pendant or something from the nighttime show?
Yes. So in addition to that, they gave you a full-size bottle of Smart Water, which was well appreciated because it was a really warm day there in Animal Kingdom. And they also gave us a light-up lanyard from Rivers of Light.
Cool.
Yeah, that was fun because that's not normally something I would buy myself. Yeah. So that was kind of a fun little thing to get. And it was nice to be able to sit for a few minutes and enjoy this quote unquote snack and be able to chat with the fellow tour folks that we were with and get to know each other a little bit. So that was fun as well.
Fantastic. So what attraction did they head you off onto next?
Kilimanjaro Safari.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, I really enjoy that ride. Now, this is always a ride that my husband and I usually, when we go to Animal Kingdom, we hit this first thing. So we're always experiencing, as early in the morning as possible, because usually that's when everybody says the animals are most active. Now, because the park stays open later, they're offering this kind of sunset time, and that's exactly when we were going to be heading in there. And this experience blew us away. I have never seen the animals out and as active as we did during this ride. I mean, to the point where we had giraffes that were almost right next to our safari Jeep, and hippos, and it was just animals everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful, wonderful experience. And they were running around and playing, and it was a lot of fun. And we saw so we were, again, because we were kind of at dusk, at sunset, we looked behind us at one point and we were like, oh my gosh, look at that sunset. It is absolutely amazing. I've never seen a sunset like that. And in the row that we were in was one of our tour guides, and he kind of giggled and he looked at me and he said, yeah, that's a Disney sunset. And I went, what do you mean? And he said, that's a fake sunset that Animal Kingdom uses to fool the animals into thinking it's nighttime, and so that they can get them back into the pens at night. So that's another a little fun fact that I was unaware of. And if you ever get a chance to see it, I definitely recommend it, because it'll fool you, and it's amazing.
That sounds wonderful. I never knew they did that.
I didn't either. And, I've always found Animal Kingdom to be an anomaly to me. And what I mean by that is it's always so hot there. Like, I swear it's always 10 to 15 degrees hotter there than any of the other parks. And I've always wondered if it's in a bubble. And now seeing that sunset, that fake sunset, I'm convinced that Animal Kingdom is just in an enormous bubble. So after we did Safari, we moved over to Everest, Expedition Everest. And that was another new experience for us, to do that at night in the almost pretty much dark. So we were really excited about that, to be able to experience that. And again, one of the tour guides that we were near, this happened to be one of his favorite rides. And he pointed out a couple of tidbits on things to look at as you're going up the mountain, to where you can actually see, I forget which park it is, but as you're almost at the peak of the hill when you're going up, if you look far to the right, you can actually see one of the other parks, which I would have never seen otherwise. So we did that. And once we were done with Expedition Everest, we all reconvened as a group. We were right outside of Rivers of Light. So the tour guides kind of explained that this was where they were going to be leaving us at this point. They were going to get us into the entrance for Rivers of Light, and then, depart from us. They explained that if we needed to come out, should we need to use the bathroom, or we wanted to grab a snack or what have you, on, how to get back in. So they let you keep the VIP tour lanyards. Okay. And so that was the way to be able to get back into that special reserved seating area. And it was perfect timing, I have to say. Once we got sat in our area for Rivers of Light, within, I want to say 10 minutes, the show started. And it was really great seating. We were to the left of, if you're looking at the way that the seating is, we were on the right hand side, but to the left. So almost center of the whole water display, which was great, because you were able to see things coming in from both sides. And then you had an almost center stage view of the lake. So again, I really liked Rivers of Light, but again, I liked it, I think, because I didn't have to, claim my bench seat 2 hours in advance of the show. I think if I was sitting in a less ideal spot, or if I had to wait a couple of hours to make sure that I got the seat that I wanted, it might be a little tainted. But I thought that the show was fantastic.
Okay. Summing all of this up, I've just added up the water, the lanyard, the food, the alcoholic beverage, the VIP lanyard. That comes to roughly $50 worth of value. Then you've got the ability to go on those attractions you've mentioned and the reserved seating for the Rivers of Light show and the little bit of backstory of attractions and chat with the VIP tour guides. How do you think that stacks up against the price point if you didn't have a discount at $249?
It's not the greatest value. Even with the discount, to be completely honest, I struggled with it. I think that they do give you a lot, not just, in physical things like the food and the lanyards, but, also the fast pass access to all of those rides. And you're able to really quite honestly do the entire park in 4 hours. So that's really great if you're on a time crunch, but it is a little expensive. I would like to see them either add a little bit of backstage access or probably take about $75 off of the price to really feel like you're getting a good bang for your buck.
No, that sounds about right to me as well from what you've described, because I know with the Rivers of Light other packages, they range from a breakfast at $39 up to the new dessert party, which is just a shade under $80. So they are pricing out these premium viewing opportunities at quite a premium, to be honest. And I don't want to sound critical, but I wouldn't put Rivers of Light as in my top 3 of Walt Disney World experiences.
I completely agree. To me, Rivers of Light, while I enjoyed it, again, because it was part of this, had it not been part of this tour, I probably would have never seen Rivers of Light. Just because it wasn't on my must-do list.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Liz, for sharing all of this information with us, because sometimes when you are on a time crunch and you've got the available funds, these tours can bring you some ways of saving time or information on the running of a theme park and things like that. And knowing that they're out there and knowing you to be able to make those informed decisions. Is this appropriate for me and my family's needs, or is it a bit not appropriate, is useful, and we can only get that by speaking to people who've actually been there and done it.
Oh, thank you. I'm always happy to share my stories and experiences, and thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. Would you like to tell people where they can find your blog, where there's a lot more detail on this and also the fantastic pictures that you took?
Absolutely. So you can find my blog, Gal Disney and Her Many Misadventures, at galdisney40.wordpress.com. And you can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at galdisney40.
That's wonderful. And thank you once again for the time that you've given to chatting with us today.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Thank you so much.